Hello, everyone. Welcome to Love Marlene 411. Welcome to the Sip and Chat, where we sip and chat about very important topics with myself and my wonderful co host, Miss Nexa.
Okay. Sorry for my co host. She gets very excited.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I should call it Turn Up Thursday. On Thursdays, I love it.
Oh, Lord. Okay. Turn up
Okay,
Thursdays will be.
turn up, turn up Thursdays it will be. Um, welcome to the Sip and Chat. What are you sippers sipping on today? Today, I'm very boring. I'm just having a Sprite with some ice. It's rather warm here in Florida, so just a simple soda with some ice. And I'm gonna
Ooh.
ask my wonderful co-host, Miss Nixa, what are you sipping on?
You know it, Marlene. You know it. You just know it. It's a boring cup of coffee. No
Mm.
ice, mind you, because, still a little cold here. Not as cold as it was a week ago, but still a little chilly. And I love my coffee. That's it. Whether it's a hot weather or cold weather, I just love my coffee. So it's a boring cup of coffee with a little bit of
Mm.
creamer, and that's pretty much it. Oh, and some water.
Mm. Mm. Okay. Okay. So that
We
sounds
sh-
good. Enjoy that and keep sipping on that.
Marlene, we should ask our followers, like our chat, to type in what they're sipping on.
Yeah. Good idea, Miss Nexie. Good idea. What is everybody sipping on? Let us know in the comment section.
If Nate comes, he'll be sipping on a taco. Oh, I hope he doesn't hear me.
Oh, be careful. I have him in Discord. I can send him this message. I'll clip
No,
it.
that's okay. He's gonna watch this. I forgot he was alive. I meant every word of it, Nate. Every word of it.
Sip on a taco. You're hilarious. Okay.
And
Okay.
and I
Oh, go
have to
ahead, Miss
let you know,
Nexie.
Miss Marlene, I have to let you know why I said that. My daughter had a surgery. I know I'm very off topic, but just hear me out why I said sipping on it. My daughter had a surgery where she had to have her gums. She had like a deficiency on her bone, so they had to kind of
Mm,
like do like a bone transplant on her
mm,
upper jaw, and she had to have him, sip like with this brackets, like they were shut down. Like she couldn't open her mouth, she couldn't chew, she couldn't do anything. She had to be immobilized on her mouth for like probably like a couple of weeks or so. So she had this lasagna in like a milkshake, not a milkshake, but blended. So she was
mm.
sipping on her lasagna. That's where the sipping taco came.
Oh, sipping taco. Hmm.
Yeah, all of her food had to be blended, and she was literally like drinking her lasagna. It was so weird. I'm
That
sorry,
is
but it was so weird.
that is weird, Miss Nexie. I've never heard anything like that in my entire life.
And they do it when they have surgery, like when you break your jaw, whatever. You have to have everything blended. Like you can't move it at all, so you have to drink it. You have to sip it.
Mm, wow. Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
So, Miss Marlene, let me ask you, since
uh-huh.
you were the one who asked about what we was drinking and everything, let me ask you, what is the topic today? What
Okay.
juicy topic you got?
Okay, I'm about to put it on the screen. Today we're talking about deadbeat mamas and daddies. Mhm.
Ooh, did you hear that?
Mhm.
A whole bunch of them falling. What?
What?
She's bringing us up. Oh my god! I'm sorry. I got my clown shoes on today.
That's okay. That's okay. I like it. I like it. You know I like the foolery. I do. I like it a lot. So, you know, but seriously, talking about this topic of deadbeat daddies, I first wanted to say, I personally do not come from that because I grew up with both parents in the home, but I have had friends, been in relationships with people who've had this, and hmm, it's something, all right. It's something. Um, and there's many reasons why that happens. Sometimes. What is so funny now, Miss Nexie?
I'm, I'm, so- I'm sorry. That's my son right now. He's like, he's a bear, so he came here going. I'm so sorry, guys. I thought I was able to mute it, but I couldn't. I was like, oh my god, he was sniffing me like a bird. I mean, like a bear. I'm so sorry.
You know what is funny? Because I can imagine that.
I was trying to mute it, but he was on my neck going. I was like,
I
oh my,
heard that and my
oh
eyes
my
got
god.
really wide. I was like, what is happening over there?
I'm so sorry. I have a bear today. You guys gonna
Yeah,
have to
you have a bear.
You
It's
guys gonna
okay,
have to
Miss Nexie.
bear with me.
I knew it was I knew it was coming.
I'm so sorry.
We have the giggles today, guys. You're gonna have to
Sorry,
you're
sorry,
gonna have
guys.
to bear with
I'm
us.
gonna try to have the phone in a way that I can mute it right away in case my bear comes back. Okay, go ahead, Miss Marlene. I'm so sorry I
No
interrupted.
problem. Welcome, Miss Betty. Hi, Retirement Days. Hi, Lisa. Welcome. Thank you all so much for being here. If you could hit the like, I'd really appreciate it. So, let's start off this topic talking about deadbeat mamas. Now, it's really not a lot of people talk about the mothers, but they are out there, okay? The ones that will leave their children or the things that they will do to their children. Hmm. Now, I looked online
Mm-hmm.
and I saw some things about, the deadbeat moms, and the ones that will leave their children so they can go and score, and you know what that means.
Mm-hmm.
Um, or they'll leave their children so that they can go and do some other things, like in the streets, going so they can get high. Can I say that?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I
Um,
just did, but
they can get happy. We can say so they can get
yeah, they can
happy,
get
right?
happy.
So we
Yeah.
don't get in trouble.
Hmm.
Oh,
Yeah, so they can get happy so that they can, you know, have fun, and they're not really thinking about the welfare of their children. um, what makes me sad is when I see children, when it's cold, they don't have the things that they need, like sneakers or boots, or the appropriate clothes, or they come to school, they don't have a packed lunch. It's certain things. It's like, if they don't have that coming to school, what must the environment be like for these kiddos at home? That makes
mm.
me sad.
It is. It is really, really sad. Um, and I want to. I think I'm gonna use another side of being a deadbeat mom,
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes we grew up in a two-parent household, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we have a mother who is not interested in her kids. Corporate life, or simply just owning a small business, or just not interested. And it's not part of, even though she is in the household, she's not part of the raising of the kids, because she's out working out with friends, out doing things, not really engaging with her children.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to sound like hating or anything on anyone. I'm not. That's not what I'm trying to say here. But we can have a two-parent household with either one of the parents also being deadbeat, because it's not just in this time and age, it's not just that it's not part of your life. They're divorced, therefore they're not part of your life. It's not like that. They can be living in the same household.
Hmm. Yeah, I never thought about that, Miss
Yeah.
Nexie. I'm glad that you brought that out because, yeah, that is true that they could be in the home and then one parent still is doing the work of
Hmm.
two and they're completely relaxed.
Yeah, I can give you several examples, and it's not only just relaxed, but it's more like the dad is the one taking the kids to school, packing them their lunch, making sure that they're on time, making sure that they're dressed, picking them up, taking them home, um, feeding them lunch or snack before he has to go back to his own business, while the mom is at home, just watching, her shows, getting up late in the morning, going out to coffee with friends, and the kids are not even part of her life. And I have friends like that. And
Mm,
I don't say anything because I feel it's not my place. I feel that they know what's going on. They just don't want to. They don't want to take that next step, because for some reason they can't. But I've seen that, and the mom is literally not there. And I don't understand how that can happen, Marlene, because you and I are hands-on moms, right? Like, we're
mm-hmm.
hands-on on everything that our children do.
Exactly.
Part of it, we're making sure that they're dressed warmly if it's cold. If it's a little bit not too cold, but you feel like it's probably going to, you put a sweater in their backpacks.
Mm-hmm.
You sneak one in there, and then they come and thank you because you sneaked that sweater in there because it was so cold.
Mm-hmm.
And you put extra things in their lunch bags, and you make sure they have a good backpack, they have the proper shoes, they have the proper outfits, that they're showered, that they're fed, that they're doing their homework. And again, I had the other side of that, is that mom is there, but dad is mom and dad.
Mm. Wow. And
Hmm.
coming from, I did not experience that, Miss Nexie. Can you tell us a little bit about how that how that makes you feel? I can assume, but I don't know. How did that make you feel seeing your dad do everything?
Actually, it was it's a couple of friends of mine that have gone through. My dad was a single dad, right? So
Oh
my
yeah.
mom
Oh yeah.
left. Yeah, my mom left. But my friends were, professionals. My friends own businesses. We met through different. It was a weird meeting because they're pharmacists. They own pharmacies, and then we were kind of like that. That's how we met, and we become friends. So when I finally got what was going on, it made me feel angry because I appreciate my friend very much. I care for them. I have to say, one more than the other because one is more closer to me than the other. But I didn't like the fact that he says nothing.
Mm.
He just went on like that for years. They had 4 kids, and and it made me feel very uncomfortable, and I wanted to say something because I did, but I wasn't her friend. I was his friend. So as a friend, I didn't want to put him in a predicament. I didn't want him to feel like he had to choose between our friendship and his wife, because I figure if he's still doing this because he loves her, right? He cares about
Mm-hmm.
her and he cares about his family. So who am I to step in? But it made me feel very um, unhappy for him, very upset at her because she was messing with the kids, because a child needs to know that his or her mother cares,
Yeah.
loves them. It's always on top of whatever their needs are, and is participant in everything that they do in life, because that's part of love, right?
Exactly. I'm going to pause just for a moment, Miss Nexie, because Shay Love just became a new member. So I have to acknowledge that in the chat. Welcome to membership, Shay Love. Thank you so much.
Hey, Shay. Thank you, and welcome into the Marlene The Marlene show.
Oh, I love that. I'm gonna
Gi- gi-
clip that one for a remix. I'm gonna clip
give
that one.
Hey, don't clip the bear one. Don't give me a minute.
Oh,
Give me
I'm
a minute.
gonna clip that. I'm gonna
Bear's
get
coming.
quite a few clips.
Bear's coming.
Thank you, Miss Shay. Thank you, Shay. Appreciate you. And we just
Thank
have Miss
you.
702 walked in.
Hey,
Welcome,
Miss
Miss.
702, welcome in.
Yes, welcome in, welcome in. Yeah,
And,
Shay says she likes that. She says I like that, the Marlene show.
and
Yeah.
Marlene, I like it too, Shay. Marlene,
We're
and if
gonna
you're
do
wondering,
something with that. We're gonna do something with that, Miss Nexie.
yeah, we
Hmm.
should. We should. Marlene, if you're wondering, it's not a panda. It's not a white. It's a grizzly bear. So, just in
Oh,
case you're wondering,
Gisley. Okay, okay.
yeah,
I
it's
thank
not.
you for the clarification. I needed that.
I
So,
don't know.
so Miss Nexie, I'm sorry that I interrupted you in your mid sentence. You were just saying something very important, sharing about, you said you had a friend and she was a pharmacist and she was not a hand-on mom
No,
and
no, 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 Marlene. No, no. Let me clarify that. My guy friend is a pharmacist. He owns pharmacies.
oh,
She's a was a stay at home mom.
oh, okay. I completely got that wrong. I
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
apologize.
I didn't explain it though. That was the whole point. Is that I didn't explain that he was the business owner. We met through, like I said, writing prescriptions and talking on the phone. Sometimes we became friends,
Uh-huh.
and we've been for many, many years. But she was a stay-home mom.
Mm.
Hmm.
So she was a stay-at-home mom, but she wasn't staying at home.
Oh no, she just stayed at home.
Oh, oh, I thought it was the
The mom
opposite.
part though, the
I
mom
thought it
part
was the
wasn't there. It was
opposite
just
part. Because you know how like they could be a stay-at-home mom, but they're never home. I thought it was that. Just
no, no, no. She the part that bothered me, like I said, a lot is that he was working, Marlene. He owned um, a um, um, a couple of stores, and then he owned, business, like real estate, apartment buildings, and he has his pharmacy and everything. He has a lot of things going on, and a lot of other like investments and stuff like that. But he was, a hands-on dad. He was literally mom and dad for those kiddos,
oh,
and emotionally, I don't know how the kids are as far as that, because like from her, like it wasn't there. Like mom, it was something that it just happened to her, but it wasn't something maybe that she wanted. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. I never got to talk to her that, in depth, because I wasn't that close to her like that.
hmm.
Like I was close, but I wasn't her friend. Like, and
Yeah,
I never
you were
felt
her husband's
comfortable.
you were her
Yes.
husband's friend. Yeah.
Yeah, I was her husband's. My husband and I were his friends. Like that's how we met her. And then when I started like getting more like familiar with them, and I started seeing everything that went on at home, I was like, oh my God. And the kids came to him for everything. Like if they went to her, she'll be like, go ask dad to give you that, because I'm watching my shows right now. Go ask dad to do that. And this man worked from, getting up at 5:30, 6 a.m. in the morning, dropping them off at school, and then working all day, then making sure he had someone to cover at 2 actually, 2:30, or 2:15 so that he could go pick up the kids and then take them home and then come back to work. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And be there until 8 o'clock at night, and then the routine started all over again.
Mhm. Wow. So, sometimes that's why I always say, you look at families and you really don't know what's going on within behind those closed doors, of people's
Mm-hmm.
relationships. You don't know what those poor children have to deal with. And no, I have to
And
say, oh, go ahead, Miss Nexie.
no, I was gonna remind that I know that it says deadbeat moms and dad. That I wanted to remind people that a deadbeat mom or a deadbeat dad doesn't necessarily have to be outside of the house. It can be right inside of your home,
Mhm.
right in your front door, as they say, right?
Right.
They don't have to be, absent from the family, or not, hear from them for years. No, it can be right in your house.
Hmm. Yeah, that's true. When when one parent like has already checked out, you know, or they will say, "I didn't want to be a mother, or I didn't want to be a dad. You wanted children. I didn't want children." So it's one of those things that they did it to make the other one happy. But I guess sometimes we'll feel that, yeah, when they have a child, they'll love their children.
They'll
They feel,
change.
yeah, they'll change. Hmm.
They sure
And
do.
yeah, and the whole thing about it is that when it comes to the deadbeat dad, I don't know if that's wrong of my thinking, but it's something that I expect. But when you talk about a deadbeat mom, I don't understand how you could be a deadbeat mom. Like,
Eh,
be
yeah, and
completely
which is
honest.
why, and Marlene, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but it's why I started with that story, because I wanted to make sure that, our men don't feel like they're the only ones that get attacked, or they're the only ones that being deadbeat, or they're the only ones that are being brought up all the time, because it's not just them. It goes both ways.
Mhm. It does. It goes both ways, and we have to acknowledge that these dads out here, they're doing a great job. And to all those who are fathers, single parents, even though they're married, or whether the relationship broke off and they're doing a great job with their children, we have to acknowledge them, and to say you're doing a great job. Give the good parents accolades.
Exactly, exactly. We have to make sure that we don't that we're neutral. That we're not just saying men are like that, because I know a lot of my friends that are males are good fathers, really, really good fathers, even though whether they're removed from the household or not, they're good dads. So we have to make sure that we are saying that it's not just the one or the other, that is both. It's just that I
Exactly.
feel that, like, the moms don't get to be talked about, because most moms are good moms. They're hands
Mhm.
on, they're always in the kids' lives, they're doing everything for their children, and the motherly love, as we call it, right?
Mhm.
But there's a plenty that are not really that involved in the kids' life, because maybe subconsciously they really didn't want kids, or they're not cut out for all that responsibility. So I wanted to open up with that it's not
Yeah.
just an absent parent, that it can be in the household, and it can be actually more damaging for the child.
Exactly. Even though I grew up in a two-parent house, sometimes I used to feel some type of way that, yes, I have my mother in my life, but I did not have a mother that gave the hugs and the kisses and the, feeding into your self-esteem, because she didn't have that. You can't expect something from someone that they don't possess it themselves. And I used to feel really jealous when I would see my friend's mom hugging and kissing them. It did something to me on the inside.
Hmm. Yeah. I grew up with just my dad. I grew up with my dad only, and it was something that because I guess I have my sisters that were over loving and overprotective of me. I probably it's why I didn't miss, my mom so much as I should have. My sisters were replacing, actually tripling that love, sometimes too much love. But it was beautiful because I didn't have to miss that side of it.
No, that's beautiful. That's wonderful. But I'm glad that you brought that up. And I want to say something that like nobody gives you a manual when a child is born.
Mm-mm.
Nobody. You don't get a manual. It's just like you just become the parent, like where you are in your life. And I do think that, with parenting, the moment that you become a parent, there should be some training that parents should get, like to make sure that they're mentally stable enough to care for a child. Um, so that they don't have, the ones that have anger issues or past traumas, that they don't take those things and put it on their children. Unresolved issues, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, there's no, tests to be taken or license to be obtained to become a parent. It's your given right, unfortunately. And, you know, we don't know. I wish there was something we could take, like at a hospital once, before we give birth or something, and the hospitals could recommend, oh, okay, now that you are, because of this little quiz that you took, you should take certain classes, right? I wish it was that, but we can't. It's everybody's right to have a child.
Yeah, it's everybody's right to have a child, but not everybody can be a good one. Everybody
Exactly.
can't be a good one. Hi, Miss Tamika. How are you doing? Welcome.
Exactly. Not everybody can. And the thing is, again, it's like, we have this misconception, as you said in the beginning, that we feel that the male is the one that is often called deadbeat. But we're the time and age where we can speak out about this, and it's that hasn't always been just the males
Hmm.
or the men. There's a lot of women too. It's just that I don't know, for some reason people don't talk about that.
Yeah, I think it's because everybody wants to pretend. Like in this pretend world, it's always the women, like in the perfect scenario, right? That women
Wi-
always
yeah,
are loving and sweet and the best to their children, very motherly, making their children homemade
yes,
meals. Yeah.
yeah, women
And
folk are the caregivers, the loving parent, the one that it brings all the love, support, and every harmony to the household. But in reality, it hasn't been like that for a very long time. But
Mhm.
it's something that is not, speaked of in the open like we're doing nowadays, because it's not just us. There's plenty of people that I have heard said, this person is not really caring for these kids, or there's so many times that kids get taken away, right, because the mother is not really protecting them.
Mhm.
So it's an ongoing thing. It's just that now we have a platform where we can talk about topics like this that can be helped, can be maybe prevented, it can be avoided by discussing it and seek the help that you need to be that
Exactly.
good parent.
Exactly, Miss Nexie. And I feel that it's very important to, when people have a deadbeat um, parent, don't make assumptions that it's something wrong with the person that they're with. Sometimes you just select a person and you are deceived, whether it's you're in a relationship with a woman or a man. Sometimes you get into these relationships and they put this mask on. And by the time you find out, you already have been pregnant, and there you go. And there's nothing you can do because you're already going to have a child with somebody. But it doesn't relieve you from the responsibilities of your child And then unfortunately some moms or some dads have to be both because the other one won't step up, can't step up, or they're not mentally stable. And I want to talk about that for a moment. Sometimes the parent is absent because they have some sort of mental illness, whether it be they're bipolar, schizophrenic, whatever it is, and they don't want to have that child in that environment. It's not that the single parent can't have the other parent come around, but because they feel that it's a safety issue or whatever, they're very unstable. They just say, I'll raise a child and you go and do your thing.
Exactly. There's plenty of times where that when that is the case, that they have to protect the child, right, from a parent with, a mental disorder. We've seen many cases that have not ended well because authorities have not taken the other parent seriously on their concern, right? The good thing about knowing that there is a mental illness is that, that person, if want to, can get the help they need, right? And you, as the other caregiver parent, can actually have maybe more involvement shielding the child from whatever it is that the other parent is dealing with. And, like you said, work with the parents. Now, I think that the authorities are taking it more seriously due to the cases from the past that have ended horribly because they weren't taking the other parent seriously. I feel that they're more open to, acting on, hey, this is going on, please help me. They're more open to acting on the other, on the father's, word, and say, okay, let me go check. As before, they were saying, no, it's probably you're the one that wants to take this woman's children away, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now, because of, the examples of the past and the tragedies that have happened because of lack of authority involvement, now they're a little bit more open to see that, hey, you know what, let me see what is going on. Because now, of course, there's cases that don't happen that way and tragedies still do strike, but they're taken more seriously now when it comes to a father trying to get help for his kids.
Yeah, that's a and that's important, And what I don't like is that if a woman says, I need some financial support for this child, everybody says, oh yeah, give that woman some financial support. But if a man says, I need some financial support to a woman, everybody goes, oh boo, like you're not a real man. It's
Mm.
not a same, it's a double standard that a woman could
Yes.
should ask a woman should ask for help, but if a man does, oh, it's something. Oh, then why
He's
can't he
not man
provide?
enough.
Yeah, he's not
Mm-hmm.
man enough. He needs to pull up the slack and or whatever, that he's judged for that or deemed as weak.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the difference on both sides? No matter if it's a single mom or it's a single dad, both need support. And if it's a deadbeat mom, she needs to pick up the slack and pay that child support. But many men
Mm-hmm.
do not file for child support
No, they
for
don't.
the mother. No, they don't.
They don't. They don't. It's funny, and it's I've seen it happen, um, and I've heard people also, with their stories that, I'm raising them, but I don't want her help. I don't need her help. I got this. I can raise my kids, no problem. And I'm thinking, but if it was the other way around, I know that people will criticize you for not giving her money, but it's this way, and they're not criticizing her.
Ah, yeah, it's wild.
Double
There's some
standard.
wild things that happen. Yeah, there's a lot of double standards. So let's go to the other side. The
We're going
side
to
that
the
I have
dark side.
more. Yeah, going to the dark side. The side that unfortunately, many women have this experience of women. being a single parent, and some of it not by choice, which you opened up my eyes to that today, but most of the time, um, because the father is no longer in the home, they have never been good, or they're incarcerated, they have mental illness, or that father will choose to take care of children, start a whole nother family, and neglect his
Mm-hmm.
own.
Mm-hmm. That, you know, that happens plenty in of households. We don't get to hear them, right? But I have seen fathers that divorce or separate from the mother of his children and meet somebody else with kids and forget about their kids and just focus on the new romance kids.
Hmm. Yeah, and you know, and being on the other side of that, I'm sure that any child would look at that like, who, like, hello, I'm your child,
Mm,
and and I'm ignored, but the new children with the new person, they're getting all the love and kisses, and and they're doing everything like, and that other child is left on the outside and ignored and not taken care of, when it's not right, it's not fair. And I'm so sorry to anybody who has ever had to be on that side, to where you have one parent that is deadbeat, or unfortunately some people have both, their
mm.
mom and their dad are deadbeats.
Oh yeah, that actually, again, not, it's not the majority of the men that do this. It's not. It's a certain percentage that are not part of their kids' life the way they're supposed to be, you know. But because there's a lot of men that do take care of their kids, even if they're not with the mother, right? But again, we're gonna go back to what I said in the beginning. There's a lot of men too that are in the household and are not being part of their kids' life at all. The
Mm-hmm.
mother is the one carrying all of the burden. You know, they go to work, I'm tired from work, they don't want to participate in the kids, you know, sports. They're always up to something, they're not really there, they're always tired. You know, so it can be, again, a two household parent with a dad that it's deadbeat, that is not really there. And it doesn't have to be an absent parent from the house, it can be in the same household too.
Exactly, Miss Nexie. And I'm going to acknowledge Flirk in the
Hey,
house.
flirt. I tell you, when I go
Yeah, we're going to say Flirk.
flirt.
Yeah. Um, Miss Nexie, that's something that, I never thought about, a parent actually being in the home, calling them a deadbeat parent, but it is true if you really think about it. And I know back in the day, it was something that people didn't divorce. No matter what that person did, you stuck it out with them because you just
Mhm.
did not divorce. That was frowned on. So no matter what that parent wasn't doing, no matter if they had mental illness, they weren't a good provider, they were weird or strange, or they were not emotionally attached to their children, it didn't matter. They always made it seem like everything was okay in the home, and I always had an issue with that when I was younger. The ones that you knew that they were unhappy, and when they would be out, that they would be pretending like holding hands, everything's perfect in the home, but you could see, because I would be friends with the children and they would be so sad, and the parents
Mhm.
put on this persona like they have the great American family. Everything is perfect at home, we have everything, we're together. But sometimes I do think that some people need to be separate. They're better parents apart than they are together. Not
I'm
to be,
glad
yeah,
you brought that up.
yeah.
Yes, Marlene, I'm glad you brought that up because I feel that. when they stay together because of the sake of togetherness, the resentment that is building between the two parents, I think that can affect how the kids are treated inside the household. I'm glad you brought it
Exactly.
up because, like you said, they stay for the sake of staying together, right? Because it was frowned upon. You couldn't get divorced. How? Wow, you come from a divorce, family. Ooh,
Mhm.
whatever. So they stuck around to it, but the problem is the kids paid the price because one of the parents, the one that probably was the unhappiest one, distanced themselves from the entire family just to avoid the other person,
Mhm.
right? So, I want to give you an example, and it's something that my kids said to me, um, and my husband has been a good father to our kids. Soon to be ex-husband has been a great father to our kids, a great provider, right, to our children and to the whole household. But when we separated, my kids were in high school, and then I had a little one with autism, so I was going 5 different ways. Even though it was only like 3 of them still at home, right? But I was going like 5 different ways, and then one time at dinner, I apologized to the kids. I'm like, oh my god, I forgot about your game, or I forgot about your activity. I don't remember what it was, and I'm sorry. I said, because now that I'm a single parent, there's so much for me to take on. And my kids looked at each other, and then my daughter said looked at me and said, what do you mean now, Mom? You've always been a single parent. And I
Oh,
looked at her
wow.
like, yeah, exactly, Marlene. I looked at her like, what do you mean? It's like, Mom, you've always been mom and dad. That is always working. So you've been a single parent our whole life. Don't worry about it. You got this, Mom. And I was like,
Mm.
what? And it didn't register in my head that that's exactly what I was. My husband worked
Oh.
long hours. He was always traveling, for work. He will go on, for a week or two at a time, 3, 4 days at a time, come home super late, get up super early. So he wasn't really here. I was the one juggling the kids, my schooling, my job, and I was always going from place to place with them. So it didn't hit me until my kids said that you've always been a single parent. And that's
Mm.
when everything just sinked in. And I said, oh my God, yes, I have been. So everything started working on better from then on, because the guilt of the separation was kind of blocking like my routine.
Mm.
But that's
Yeah,
what they
and
said to me.
wow, I can't believe that. And I wonder how long, your kids are probably having private conversations and saying, "Oh, mom has to do it. Mom does everything." But they don't inform you to let you
No.
know that's what they're thinking. They keep that in their little circle to themselves.
Yeah. Yep. Until, the day that is needed, I think. And God works in mysterious ways. Because
Mhm.
that day when they said that to me, everything just came to my, like, all of the memories, or all of the things that I had been pushing back, I guess, that I didn't want to deal with, everything just came rushing to my head. All of the times that I was taking, coming from work and making sure homework was done, feeding them, making sure they were showered, getting them up in the morning, making sure they went to school on time, getting their outfits, making sure they were dressed properly. So everything was me, 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 me.
Mm.
I just
Oh.
didn't realize that, but it's okay though. It's something that I did with a lot of joy. And their dad was working, I guess, to provide a better life. I get that, but it was funny how my kids saw it as, what are you talking about now? I'm a single parent, Mom. You have always been that. And I didn't see that, but they did. And I was, I was grateful for them saying that to me, because it validated that no matter what happened in our household, I have always been a single parent, and we were going to be okay. That's what it gave me at that point. You
Mhm.
know what? Yeah, I'm going to be okay.
Oh, it was that validation that you got
Mm-hmm.
from your children.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's special. I'm not sorry that that happened to you because it made you be the woman that you are, but I'm also sorry. I'm sorry, not sorry.
Mm. I get it, Miss Marlene. I get it. But
Mhm.
again, we're talking about that word deadbeat doesn't necessarily, right, mean outside of the household. It can be inside your household, and you will not know.
Yeah. And I have to get back to saying this, because we're talking about now the ladies and having either your husband, boyfriend, or whoever they were, one night stand, whatever. You got pregnant. Um, I feel very sad for all the ladies that have been had the absentee father from the time all your appointments you have to go to when you're not feeling good, on and on it goes. It's not just that child, uh from the time that child is conceived, by the time you're pregnant, and all of the things that you have to deal with, and all of these wonderful strong women out there, going through the the 9 months of pregnancy. Actually, it's 10 months um, of pregnancy, and all the things that they have to go through. It's a lot, and I have to say that until you're a parent, you don't under nobody can ever get it what a woman goes through. It's not just the physical body, but it's the mental. It's all the things that you worry about, and then it's like, as women, we're expected to do everything. No matter how you feel, what you're dealing with, you never stop being mom.
Hmm. Yep, you never stop being mom. You're
Right.
always mom. Again, not everybody, it's able to be the 100% mom, right? Because especially nowadays, life is super busy. We're employed, and we work outside the house, and there's a lot of things. But if you love your kids, and if you want to be the one parent, or the parent that is always on everything that they do, is always involved, there's ways that you can do things like that, even
Mhm.
with a busy schedule. But then again, you have to want to be part of your child's life.
Mhm. Exactly. You have to want that, and I do. I'm glad that you said that, Nexie, because now, because of one parent being a deadbeat, a mom or a father has to do what she or he has to do. Working extra hours, trying to provide meals, make sure the kids are clean. They go to school and from school, probably going to daycare or having a nanny. It's a lot of things to juggle. And, for many single parents, the issue is that they don't have enough money. They don't have enough money to take care of their children. And in many instances, the father doesn't pay any child support. They don't give any emotional support. They don't want anything to do with their children, and it's like you have to watch and see your children feel disappointed because of the absent father.
Yeah. Again, it and this is the thing, though. I've heard also, um my work with a lot of men around, that have busy schedules, busy lives, right? But I've heard a lot of, um when somebody calls, are you gonna pick him up or whatever? Oh no, I can't, because I have a double today or whatever. And when they hang up, I hear them, I have to work to pay for that child support. I mean, I cannot be taken off every time, and then that there's something going on with my child, because I have to work to pay child support. But then somebody says, hey, we're gonna go for drinks after work, you want to come? Yeah, let's go. And I'm thinking, okay, wait a minute. Aren't you supposed to be here working extra for your child support? right? So you start,
Mm-hmm.
you can see the differences between the two. That, once sometimes when they're removed from the household, they're more focused on them, and the child takes a back seat. They're focused on the child support and not on the time spent with the child. I've seen other cases because I used to work with little ones. I
Yeah.
have heard other parents that are not hit with child support be so involved in the child's life because, they feel that they're not paying, so I'm going to give them my time. It's like they're looking at the child support as I'm replacing the child support. Instead of giving you money, I'll give you my time. And I'm thinking, why should it be that way? Why can it be both? The mom is paying for everything and putting her time in, right? She's the one working, and handling the household. You're out of the house in a case that they're separated. And so why should she have to pay for everything? And all you got to do is your beautiful time. That is a
Yeah.
given, it's your child. But you still have to pay half of it because it's half of you.
Yeah, it's supposed to be that way, but sometimes it's like, it's like trying to force something. There are some that they will never do it, and I know all about the cycle because I've known many people who that cycle where as soon as you get them on child support, then they quit the job, so that
Yeah.
they, yeah, so that they don't have to pay, and then they have to find them again and put them on again. Eh, you
Mm.
know,
Or they start resenting the child, Marlene, because they have to pay child support for you. I mean, for this child to you. And, they distance themselves from the child so that, and it's so sad because it has nothing to do with the little one. He's part of you, part of his mama. So you both have to pay for him or her.
mm, yeah,
It's
it,
sad.
it is. It is. It's so sad to think about all the things that, and I'm not saying it has anything to do with gender on both sides. For it's frustrating for any human being when you're a parent, whether you're a mother or you're a father. If you have, whoever it is that you have as your child's father or your child's mother, and they're just not meeting up to the standard and doing what they need to do for you. And even when you try to seek help, they'll say something like, especially the ones that they have no choice but to go and to get some welfare or to get whatever it is that you need. Never feel bad as a parent if you need that to survive and take care of your children. A lot of people say, oh, you're on food stamps, oh, you have this, oh, you're getting that. If that's what you need to take care of your child, don't listen to other people who are not in your situation. You know what you need to take care of your children. Other people on the outside always have so much to say, but they're not doing anything to support you.
Yeah, to support or help you, Marlene. They're easy to talk, they're easy to do everything, but they're not there to support or help you. And again, that's the whole thing is that, that child is 50% mine, 50% you, right? And it's 100% of us together. So the outside shouldn't influence the inside of the relationship between child and father. You know, it has nothing to do with that. And I feel sometimes that because they go through so much with the separation and the implementing of the child support, and they go through that they start kind of like not purposely, because I don't think it's done purposely, but I think it puts like I don't know, like a blocker for the father to get too close to the child because he's resenting the mom, right?
Hmm.
Maybe they had already an agreement and the mom broke that and took him to court or whatever it is. Because I've seen cases like that too, where they had an agreement of a certain amount, and then this person goes, backhandedly and does this and, takes him to court, and it was unnecessary. Like if you wanted it more, you could have asked, right? So they develop kind of like a little bit of a resentment and a distance to the child because of it. Because like I said, I've seen it happen. And there's the other ones that happily pay, but they don't want to spend any time with the child.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it goes on. It goes on both sides, and I have to say that sometimes what a single parent needs, other people who have the support, they just don't understand. When you have the support from who you're in a relationship with, your situation is not theirs. You can never
Mm-hmm.
know, and people will blame you and say, "Well, what are you doing?" And it has nothing to do with that parent. It's them. They have chosen to be absent, either emotionally,
Mm-hmm.
mentally, financially, not supporting their children at all. Don't go to
Physically,
any of
yeah.
their meetings, or I'm sorry.
No, no, I'm saying physically they have removed themselves too,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And again, it's not to criticize or it's just to bring awareness, Marlene, that we do these topics, because the one thing you have to understand is that that child doesn't stay a child, and there will be a point in where they're gonna confront you, and say, why didn't you care, or why weren't you there? And there will be a point where you're gonna need this child to be your support. And I don't mean financially, I mean physically there, emotionally there. So
Mm-hmm.
it's important for us to give to our children what one day we hope to get back in return, because it's a hope that we have, right? That we're going to get them later on when we get older. We're going to spend more time with them, because when they're growing and they take off and they do their lives, whatever, we lose them for a little bit. But our hope is that one day we're going to get them back when we get older. So we got to think of, not we're not going to stay this young forever.
Yeah.
We're aging every day. So if we want a good relationship with the kids, and then we want a good relationship with our grandkids one day if we have them, we need to start when they're little, because kids are like little sponges. They don't speak up. They don't say anything, but they're absorbing everything you're doing and saying to them.
Yeah, they remember, and sometimes you'll say something, and then years later the kids will come back and say, "I said that," and you're like,
Yes, you did.
"Oh, okay," and you're like, "I don't remember that." So, well, I did. And just like that, on the other token, I have to say this, because we talk about healthy relationships over here. Even if you have an absent father, an absent mother, never, talk disrespectfully or bad about the person that you selected, because that's still their mother or still their father. Let that child come to the conclusion for themselves how they feel about their mom or dad. You don't want to put any ideas and tell them, "Oh, and this, and they're terrible, and they're not worth nothing." That's still their father or mother. Let them say that, but don't
Mhm.
add anything to it, because you can't have a unified front as a mother and a father, whether you're in the home together or you're living separately, if you are discrediting each other.
Oh, Marlene, beautifully said. Thank you for saying that. As a parent who is, a single parent, separated, and I was also a child of divorced parents. The one thing I learned from my father at a very early age is that my father never, ever badmouthed my mother. Never. If we ever said something about my mom, he would say, "No, no, no, stop. That's your mom. You don't know what happened between us. It's not your place to judge. Your place is to love your mom. That's what you have to do. That's all you have to do. What happened between us is between us." And my father never, he always blamed himself. I was the one who messed up, so that's why she left. I was the one, that wasn't behaving well. That's why she left. He always did that to us. And I always appreciated the fact that he did that, because I didn't grow up to resent my mother. I was able to love her without that resentment. So when I got, separated and everything, I again did the same thing with the kids. This is between us. And, just call your dad, go see him whenever you can. Make sure that, you're in his life, because, right now he's somewhere else. You don't see him as often. And, The kids will say, "Yeah, mom, we'll call him." "Oh yeah, I did talk to him," and I always keep on top. Have you talked to your dad? "Yes, mom, I called him the other day." "Okay, good." And on his birthday, did you congratulate your dad? "Yeah, mom." "Oh my god, I forgot. Let me go text him, or let me go call him." My kids are adults already, so I cannot really say anything much because they're on their own now. But when they were younger, I did. This is between us. And if they were mad because of what happened, I will tell them, you know what? It was our decision, our grown up decision. It has nothing to do with you guys. We love you guys to pieces a lot, the both of us. It has nothing to do with you guys. It was just between us. And
Yeah,
talking to the child, as you said, about the other parent only creates resentment of that child towards you later on in life.
exactly, exactly. Next thing, I'm so glad that you said that. And Miss Tamika says, I always said that I never talk against my kid's father. That's good, Tamika. That's a good example. And it does take maturity because when you have issues with somebody you're in a relationship with, the first thing you'll be screaming about, oh, and you don't do this, and you always do that, and you're a horrible person, and you always did this. But that's not good because your kids are there listening and watching, and that's what they're gonna think that okay, this is how a woman and this is how a man treat each other. You're setting the stage for how they're going to deal
Look who's
with
outside.
children
Look who's
later on in
outside.
life. That's okay. You're the one putting it
Cacao,
out there.
cacao.
You're the one putting it out there
Good
whether
teacher.
how a child is going to deal with one another.
Sorry about that,
So,
Marlene. He's
oh, it's
excited
okay.
because his teacher is here. Give me a minute.
Oh, okay, no problem. um, it's always important as mothers or fathers, especially if you are the one that's the responsible mother or you're the responsible father, for you to only say good things about the parent that is not in the home. It's very important to show them maturity, and tell them, while me and your father, or because me and your mother didn't work out, it doesn't mean we don't love you. It doesn't mean you're not the reason why we broke up, because a lot of times children will blame themselves for their parents' breakup. And it has nothing to do with a child, but you do have to have that conversation, speak to your children, both of you. You're not to blame for the reason why we broke up. Is we just didn't work out, but we both want you to know that we love you and we care for you, and we're going to love you still as your mother and father. And that's important for a child to hear that, because in divorce, in breakups, a lot of children blame themselves and feel responsible. It was me. Maybe if I had been quieter, maybe if I did better grades or whatever, they'll blame themselves and say, I'm the reason why they broke up, or I'm the reason why they divorced. Children just don't understand all of those things. So, as the responsible parent, you have to speak up and say it has nothing to do with it. It doesn't mean your dad, or it doesn't mean your mom loves you any less. It's just sometimes moms and dads need breaks because they go through things in their life. You have to talk to your children. You can't just ignore that elephant in the room, because they know that that parent is missing. They know that there's some issues, but you can't ignore it. Just say mom or dad just is not emotionally available. Depending on their age, have a conversation with them. But you're not to blame. You're a great kid. And I want you to know I'm proud of you and I'm doing everything that I can. I think that's important to say to children. Let children know they're not the reason, they're not to blame, and continue to love and give them, more time. Listen to them. Be patient. That's something that, as a busy parent, sometimes we forget to listen to children. We think that because they have a place to live, food to eat, all of those things, they have the latest and greatest clothes, technology, that they should be okay, when all sometimes a child wants is your hugs and your kisses, some quality time together, just spending time alone, just with you one on one. Those are, while a child is young, that's the time to make the impression. That's the time to give them your private time so that you can make memories, so that when they get older, they're going to look back and say, I remember when I went with my mom or my dad here or there. That's what matters. Treasure those moments. And I know that it can be very frustrating to all of those who are a single parent, whether you're a single mom, whether you're a single dad, whether you have a deadbeat living with you in the home, or you have the deadbeat living outside the home. uh, you know, it's very important to get some support. And it may not come from family. Sometimes that support comes from online support, going to single parent meetings,
Mm.
getting a nanny, a babysitter, so that you can protect your mental health. I think that that's so important as single parents, that you have to support your mental health, because if your mental health isn't okay, you're not going to be available to be good for your kids.
Mm. Well said, Marlene. Thank you for giving me the time. It again, it is important for us to be grown, right, Marlene? Be grown when we are not with the person anymore. We have to be the responsible one, um, whether the kids stay with you or not. It's something that we need to grow up. We need to start playing those games of using the kids as chess pieces, right? You can move them anyway and make that person do things or whatever. We have to be grown. We have to make sure that the things that are coming out of our mouth are for better of our children, for better of our families. We cannot be disrespecting the other parent in front of them, because to you he's a piece of whatever, to them that's their dad. To a dad, that woman is a B. To them, that's their mother. So speaking in ill terms towards the other parent will only create an environment with your own kid as they get older of distancing from you, of resentment towards you, of saying, I will never be like you. You know what I mean? Or I remember when you did this too, when you said this about my mom, or when you said this about my dad. So we have to make sure that, like Marlene says, our mental health is number one. We're going to have health issues, sometimes we all do get sick or whatever, but our mental health should be the one that we keep at its sharpest when we are going through something with, or when we have children, because the effects of you not having a healthy mind, the repercussions that comes from that is too great of a price for any child to pay, because you weren't grown enough to take care of your mental health.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not something that back in the day that we even thought about. You just said, I'm just stressed out. But when you don't realize you're stressed out, you start snapping, yelling, and unfortunately some children have been victim of being assaulted by their said parent, because of they feel overwhelmed and stressed, and that child has done nothing, but you are being very aggressive on that child, and you know yelling at them, screaming, putting them down, saying all kinds of things about the child, and that breaks down a child's self-esteem. And it doesn't matter, even when they get grown, they still have those things that you said in their minds. This is what my
Hmm.
mom, this is what my dad said about me.
This is what they think. So this probably is why I am who I am, because that's who they said I was going to be. And it's important for us to, like I said, I've said this plenty of times, is what the words that you use on other people are probably sharper than any knife you can use on them. You have to be very careful on how you construct your wordings, because you can harm someone for life. You can scar them for life with two sentences. So making sure that you are, the best. that you can be on your mental health is key, because that's going to be the thing that is going to allow you to be able to control when you're overwhelmed, when you're tired, when you're at your wit's end. Having a healthy mind gives you coping mechanisms so that you don't snap at the kids, so that you don't take it out on them, all the frustration that you're probably feeling towards, their father. So you have to make sure that you do that, because again, it's too much of a price for a child to pay for your mistakes, because this wasn't their mistakes. You're the ones who had them.
That's so true, Miss Nexie. It's true. Um, we sometimes tend to think that children don't understand things. I hear people say that all the time. Oh, they're 3. They don't know
They're
what's going
little.
on,
They
and
don't
they
get it.
know.
They
They
do.
don't get it. They don't understand. And unfortunately, I have heard some poor kiddos saying, "Yeah, I saw when my dad hit my mom. I
Mm-hmm.
saw when my mom used to drink alcohol. So they saw when their mom was being a drunk, or I saw when my dad used to take certain substances. I saw when he had an anger problem. They see all of those things, and it impacts them, for the rest of their life until
Mm-hmm.
their adulthood. They think that, okay, that's how a man, he goes, and when he's stressed out, he goes and gets some substances to cope, or a woman goes and she drinks, or she's whatever it is that she is. And we have to be very careful of the example that we're showing to our children. Even when we feel overwhelmed and stressed, it's very important to have those mental health breaks for our self care and our self love. It's important to show your children that mom or dad needs their time too. That's a
Mm-hmm.
very good example for children to say, mom or dad is not always available for you, okay? Mommy needs her time by herself, or daddy needs his time by himself. And that's very good, because when they get to be older, then they can be saying the same thing. I need my time, because they saw that example from the both of you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Most of us do learn by example. And the money you're gonna save this child, where if you work on yourself, hopefully he won't have to, or she won't have to work on herself and spend all this money on therapy as we did. um again, it's something that we don't realize, I guess, that the way that we are living or leading our lives, the way we're behaving, how it's affecting them, how it's shaping their lives and their minds. Because, like Marlene said earlier, they're little. But let me tell you, from someone that works with little ones and someone that is, a separated parent, um, taking control of your mind and putting your because sometimes I can say sometimes we can be a little bit selfish, your selfishness aside, your grief aside, and putting everything aside and concentrate on them, the outcome of that is it's a surprising, um, amazing prize for you. I see my kids. I didn't break down. I didn't badmouth their father. I try to give them the best life possible. And my kids are, they're adults that have a good life for themselves. They're running a good life. They're not, substance abusers. They're not out there doing things that they're not supposed to. They're married. They're having kids now in, mid 30s and stuff like that. So they're good kids. And that came from me controlling the anger or the despair or the issues that I had going in my head, and trying to focus on them. Because when you get separated, a lot of people, or, when you divorce or get separated, a lot of people get wrapped up in me. I'm going through this. And they forget that the little ones are probably going through it 3 times over, because they don't know what's going on. They don't have the resentment that both of you have, and that's why you separated. These kids have no idea. So focusing on them It's a lot better, for you to have a healthy mind. Put your deals aside and just focus on making sure that they're growing up mentally, emotionally, and supported by you. That's all that should be, your priority. And of course, work on yourself. I'm not saying you're not going to have moments where you just don't want to see anyone or you're just going to break down. Yes, but make sure that those moments are very rare in front of your children, because children are born like blank pieces of paper. You can write a wonderful, beautiful life for them, or you can write the worst life ever for those kiddos.
Mhm. Yep, by the way you treat yourself, the way you treat them, and by the way you treat their the deadbeat parent. That's even if they could be deadbeat, but you don't show that.
Mm-hmm.
You just act like everything is okay, everything is normal. You just do what you're supposed to do, and you take your breaks, and you spend quality time with them, and you teach and you learn by example. And it's okay to tell your kids it's hard for me, and mom or dad, I'm doing the best that I can because I want to raise you in love, and give them that affection. Give them
Mm-hmm.
those hugs and kisses, whether you're a single mother or you're a single father. They need that. They
Yeah, and
need
don't
that so
worry,
that they
they
can
are.
be okay.
Yeah, and Marlene, don't worry, as you say, because they already know that the other parent is not part of their lives. They already
Hmm.
know that. So you don't have to say anything. They already know that they're not important to the other parent at the moment. You don't have to say it. You don't have to throw it on their faces. They know it.
Hmm. Yeah, but it's very important during that time, that transition period, that you're telling the kids that they're good kids and how proud you are of them, because you need to balance the like that offset of their life of missing that said parent, that you're pouring more attention and time and making them feel special, and loving them. I call over loving them, giving them more than they would actually get if there was two two parents
In,
together, loving
mm-hmm,
them and doing what they need to, because you're doing it all on your own. Make sure you're giving them that one-on-one time. You're talking to them morning, afternoon, evening, because it can't just be you're the only parent, and they only look at you as a disciplinarian. You also have to give them, I'm also the mom or the dad that loves you. I'm also the one that's on your side. I'm the one that you can talk to. You have to
mm-hmm.
give them all you have to put on all those separate hats.
Exactly. You have to be the mom and dad at that point. You have to be their everything. You don't have to have the need to badmouth the other parent because they already know.
Hmm.
Kids feel everything. They're little, but like I said before, they're little sponges. They already know how important or how lack of importance they have in your life.
Hmm. They do know. A great topic, Miss Nexie. I really enjoyed it. We're gonna pick up and go into something else next week. Any final words?
Well, first, I want to apologize for all the interruptions. Today has been a very eventful day for me, but that's first and foremost. But yeah, my last words is that, when you have children, even if you are not in the household, but mostly when you are not in the household, right? You have to make sure that you are talking to your children. Talk to them, and not about the separation, because they don't need to know the whys, but talk to them so that they can understand that even if you're not in the household, that you're always there for them, that they're always going to be your priority, that they're always going to be your number one. Don't assume that they know that. Make sure that you use your words, use them wisely and as often as possible, telling them how much you love them, how much you're always going to be there for them, whether you're in their house or outside of it, that they can always count on you, that they always have you. Because the fear that most children of broken households have is that they're not important to either one of the parents, but mostly that they're not important to the parent that left the household. So make sure that you're
Right.
talking to them, that you're using the right words. And if you can, take a parenting class for separated or divorced parents. They actually teach you how to talk to them. That's pretty
Amen,
much
Miss
it, Miss
Nancy.
Marlene.
Great final words. And my final words will be that, to make sure as the strong parent, the responsible parent in the home, that you also are taking breaks, because you don't want to burn out. You don't want to snap at your children and be overwhelmed. Try to go to some agencies and see if you can get some support for your mental health, so that you can pour into yourself, so that you can pour into your children, because it's a cycle of love. You give love out, but you also deserve as a parent to get back and to take care of yourself and to look good, and all of those things. And don't be afraid to ask for some support, whether it be some financial support from government assistance, or getting a nanny, or whatever it is. Even having conversations, with a therapist. But whatever it is that you need to be a better parent, do that for yourself and do that for your children, so that they can be mentally stable, so that they can feel loved and valued. Yeah, all of those things. And great job to all you single moms and dads out there. I have the utmost respect for every single one of you. Keep going, and keep doing your best. And you know what the work that you are doing, but sometimes it's important to get accolades from others, and I'm giving you your accolades today. Great job to all you single parents.
What she said. If I had an arrow, there would be an arrow, a T-shirt with an arrow. What she said, but what she said. Yeah, thank you, Marlene, for that. It's appreciated, especially to a single parent. Thank you for having me today, Miss Marlene.
Thank you
Thank you,
so
thank
much.
you, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much, Miss Nexie, and everybody in the chat, Miss Tamika, Blurk, Miss Shay Love joining the membership, and anybody who watches on the replay. I appreciate every single one of you. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you all on the next Sip and Chat next Thursday. Bye, Miss Nexie.
Bye, Miss Marlene. Bye, everybody.
Bye.